All right. Uh, what you say? Get money. All right. Welcome to another episode of the X Zone with Chris with an X. If you hear something in the background, that's just my fan blowing. I need my air. Everybody need their air to breathe. Chant, I can breathe. Anyways, today's topic will be about Donald Trump and the election. Of course, I'm not like super political, but I do get into it because the presidents do affect what goes on in our country. But before I get into that topic, you already know, I like, share, subscribe. Wherever you hear the sound of my voice, whether it's Apple Podcasts, I'm available there. Spotify, Radio Pocket, or Pocket Radio, Overcast, etc. You can see I'm available on 7 or 8 different platforms, as well as YouTube. Also, be sure to hit that listener support. All of y'all want to be at home quarantining. We out over here buying the Birkin bags. You over here buying what's the other one? A hemorrhoid, or whatever. Not hemorrhoids. Hemis. There you go. Hermes, whatever. Bags. The floss in your damn living room. You ain't got nowhere to go. Floss on your gram. You could. They charging you over thousands of dollars to rock with that in your living room. And wherever you hear the sound of my voice, I'm only asking you for $4.99, $9.99, whatever you can support monthly. Shit, y'all give it to Starbucks. Y'all can support me. Stop with the homie discount crap. Support bloggers. Support YouTubers. Just like you rock with Beyonce, Cardi, Nicki, or insert your favorite celebrity. Eminem, whoever. People, it's very important to do that because a lot of people, it's also good to have like different talent. Like I stated in my other podcast about what separates me from the rest, it's always good to get your news from everywhere, because sometimes the news won't cover certain stories, which I'll get into that a little bit. So yeah, hit that listener support. I'm the Birkin bag for your ear. Okay, so I guess with the elections coming up in 2 days, whether you hear this before or after the whoever wins, shout out to you. Hey, you know. So for me, I'm like I said, I'm not super political because this video or this podcast rather could be almost 4 hours, 5 hours long. Just the debate and going on into all that stuff. And I'm not super political, but also people should vote, because then if you don't vote, then they can make the rules for you, and then 10 years down the line you have to deal with, let's say if you have to all black people give $1 to a white person every day, and then if you, I don't vote, voting is boring, and everybody gets that mindset, then they could just pass that around and it gets approved. There's even a commercial where some old white folks are saying, I'm rich, in 10 years I'll be dead, so this, voting, if you don't vote, none of this affects me in any type of way. And that's very true. For me, I'm not for any other president right now. We already know about Trump. We hear some stuff about Joe Biden as well. I like to see how people move. Don't ask me to call you nothing when I see how you move. I want to see how you move. Now, with that being said, like I said, I come here to tell the truth. Whether you for Joe Biden or Trump, no. Like I said, I keep it real and gutter right here. Don't try to dox me, send no death threats, none of that shit. Because you're going to be careful who you threaten in these streets. Some of y'all go too crazy over the people that you don't even really know. It's okay to have an opinion, but just don't go too far with certain shit, because certain stuff is not funny. But anyways, I guess my concerns. Well, let me start off with this, because I like to segue into other stories too. People go out and vote. Please vote. And I know a lot of these Trump supporters, some of them are very racist. Some of them are not. They make very good points. That's why I like to. I don't jump on fuck you trains. I like to see how somebody move because it's very important for critical thinking and thinking for yourself and knowing the truth. The truth is always going to be the truth, no matter who tells the truth. You can come out with a podcast. I can't do everything. Well, I can do everything I'm great at in the end what God put me on this earth to do. And that's what I will do. Um, Let me stop saying, people you can podcast to. It's very easy. It's very easy. And we need people to tell our stories, like I said. I think, I guess well, so the bad thing with Trump is that he does showboat a lot. He does tweet out a lot of things that are truthful. Some of them are truthful, but he just has a very fucked up delivery of saying it. Because I'm fair on both sides. He said something about all the Mexicans are the drug dealers, killers, and stealers, and I assume some of them are good people. When you're a president on that type of platform, you have to be very articulate. You have to watch what you can tell the truth, but you can't include all people in there. It's just like saying all black people steal, all black people are violent. Don't do that. That's just the tactics that white supremacists keep us down. I'm not saying Trump is a white supremacist, but he does have a lot that support him. Then he has people that support him because it's like, he does tell the truth, but he has a fucked up delivery, and which I can see because somebody else was saying, well, grab him by the pussy, and then some lady, I think it was Hollywood Unlocked, that Joy Vila chick. I can't really get into her, but I did like her interview, and other people in the comment section saying, well, he didn't. Well, she said he didn't say grab him by the pussy. He said if you got money, you can just grab him by the pussy. And then some of your favorite rappers do that too, where you got songs like that little Cholo song, "Daddy, I'm in love with a thug. Daddy, I'm in love with a gangster." Do gangsters romance? Biggie had this whole song called "I'm Fucking You Tonight," where he gonna skip the wine and dinner. He's just gonna straight fuck you on the bed. So, that's one of the debates that people use. Also, shout out to SNL. The Michael Che was saying, all black people, I mean, all you political people, rappers are not leaders in the black community. Rappers are a leader. They're good at what they do, but they're not like, oh, my favorite rapper said this, now I have to go out and do that. I haven't been for Lil Wayne since he said, beat the pussy up like Emmett Till. That is not something you say. Okay, how creative you get, certain stuff you do not do. And as black people, like Kanye West saying that slavery was a choice, you don't say that because you would never say that Holocaust was a choice because your career will be over. So as black people, we do not play when it comes to that. Who would choose to be whipped and beaten, all of that? I shouldn't even have to explain that slavery is not a choice if you know your history. Whether you watch one movie, whether you go deep down the rabbit hole, damn well slavery was no choice. And I think that's what keeps the country divided, because of certain people and their views. Mainly these celebrities that have big platforms, and they don't use them to their advantage. Now, Ice Cube, he was making a lot of good points on the presidential debate about the black community, and when he went on Cocktails with the Queens, which was a disastrous event, but he handled himself well. I love Cocktails with the Queens, but they really did approach that whole anti-male feministic bullcrap. Not true feminists, but that male crap. The feministic stuff that keeps this country in America down. Like Ice Cube was saying, we should all stand together. Everybody should stand together. But mainly he was talking about the black community. And, the black women. Yes, black women are included in black people. You have to have a black man and a black woman to make a black person, don't you? But other than that, yes, all rappers are not political figures. So I don't really care about what Kanye says because he needs help. I definitely don't give a damn what Lil Wayne says because you lose points with me saying crap like that about your people. And I'm not trying to turn this all into a whole race thing, whatever, because I think that's stupid too. Race war, whatever. Black on black crime, no. Most black on black crime is just gang violence. And a lot of people in America, like the Vice show was saying, uh, how white supremacists got into a lot of people's heads, especially about like with slavery and stuff. But you go check his channel out, the Vice show, or Africa's Diaspora Net. And I just want to talk about that too, that how Donald Trump was kind of behind the Central Park Five. He didn't cause it, but I just think that. So if you don't know the Central Park Five, well, we call them the Revolutionary Five, but the Central Park Five court case was in New York in the 80s and early 90s. New York wasn't a tourist attraction. It was definitely Sin City like Las Vegas is, very gutter, very grimy. And this woman got stabbed in the middle of the night. She didn't die, but they thought she was going to die because she was losing a lot of blood. And the perpetrator that stabbed her, he had blood all over his face, ran off with her purse. And so, these five boys, well, four of the boys that were spotted in that area that night, I got questioned, called in for questioning. And then the fifth boy, Corey, I believe his name, Corey Gaines, he was just accompanying his friend to the jail cell, not the jail cell, sorry, the station, and they dragged him in. And then these boys one of them got punched, they got yelled at, you know, they got fingerprinted, they brought the clothes in from the night before, everything. Nobody could find a case on them, but since this case was going public, I guess the screwed up law corruption, the jails, the corruption system, just oh shit, what can we do now? You know, do we say they're guilty? And everybody had a witch hunt for them. As black men, people had a witch hunt on them. And I find it eerie that Donald Trump will be saying, yeah, they're the rapists and they're killers and all of that. And these boys did not have anything to do with that crime. And they got doxxed. And this is before the internet. They got doxxed. Their family's address got put out. Home addresses, work addresses, everything. And they had to spend at least about, I believe it was 6 years in jail before the real perpetrator came across Corey Gaines in Rikers Island, which is one of the worst prisons that you can go to. And basically, he told you can't call him a killer, but might as well call him a killer. She didn't die, but the dude who stabbed her, he was getting right with God or whatever, and he told Corey Gaines, sorry for what I did and all of that. So they told the DA, he told Corey Gaines, what can I do for you? Tell him that I didn't do it. He told the correctional officer that I'm the one that did it. Even though TV made it seem like they jumped on the case right fast, no, they didn't. He had to keep telling over and over and over and over again until one of the correctional officers went up to the district attorney. It was like, hey, we got a guy in here saying that he was the one who stabbed that girl in that Central Park 5 case. And that's when they were like, oh, okay. And then they looked into it, and then everything, got smoothed out. So Donald Trump lost some points on me with that. Because, I'm very serious, especially as a black man, very serious into, because, being black in America, it's not as tough as it used to, but it's still rough. Just like I want to talk about the Willie Brown Jr. situation that just happened a couple of days ago, where this black man got lynched, and they talking about suicide. Knowing damn well it was no suicide. Most black folks don't believe in that, because you go to hell if you kill yourself. That's just our forte. and religious system. And you got somebody grandma once said, I would never kill myself. Hell, I'd rather kill you and ask God for forgiveness than kill myself. No, that's not how it goes. I'm not advocating nobody to kill nobody. But shit, that's some positive thinking in a weird kind of wicked sense. But no, so that's re-roll that out. Somebody lynched him, and the police is covering it up. And I'm not saying Donald Trump has anything to do with this, or Joe Biden in that matter. You know, if we're gonna make America great, we're gonna have to go full throttle with that. And I'm just talking about this. I'm talking to the citizens right now, because as a black person, like I said, I'm not trying to make it about race. Yes, Black lives matter, all lives matter, blue lives matter, everybody lives matter. When it comes to black people, especially like a black man, I think it's just easy to pick on us, easy to shoot us, and everybody has that oh well attitude. And no, not everybody, but the ones who do it. And who's ever going to be in office needs to take care of that. The corrupt system. Can it happen in one day, 1 year? No, but slowly but surely. But this has been the most recent lynching. There was another man that got lynched in California. There was a Latino man that got lynched in Houston, Texas. A lot of lynchings. And as a black person, you already know our history. And you don't want us to raise hell, like the Vice show was saying. And not just the Vice show, that's just called common sense. We're not going backwards. The only time black people we want to take a step back is when we're doing the cha-cha slide. One time, two time, three time, crisscross. But when it comes to like the whites only and all of that, we definitely not doing that. Because there's also I'll talk more about that in my other podcast that I'm going to create. But we had Black Wall Street, it got burnt down. And, Lake Lanier used to be a black town called Oscarville. It got drowned out. But I'll go more into that in another podcast. But political system, yeah, whoever's going to be in office, whether it's president, vice president, senator, attorneys, whoever, you need to take more stuff like that seriously against our minorities, especially with the kids in the cage. If you escape to America, yes, you do need to come here the right way. Yes, you do need to get citizenship. I know it takes a long time. Do it the right way. But ain't nobody said nothing about, little kids getting raped or the women getting vasectomies. They getting their tubes tied. I forgot the technical term for it. Because men is vasectomy. I think women is history. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Look it up. But who's ever going to be in office, I definitely want to see somebody serious. Because that whole presidential candidate debate, that was more ratchet than the Housewives show. They was just straight ghetto, and then the fly on the head and all that. It was just straight ratchet. Or white trash, whatever y'all want to call it. If y'all not ratchet, whatever. But no, this whole, let me get the rappers on board and let me get this person on board. No, we need a little bit more seriousness, a lot more seriousness when it comes to being in that office. Because all these nooses and stuff that I'm seeing, voter intimidation and all of that. And then, Offset, Cardi B's, man, getting terrorized, whether you like him or not, whether you listen to his music or not or whatever, you can't rally and protest or whatever, rally and then throw stuff and rock his car and then call the police on him and then try to have him arrested. That's just sending clear messages along with the whole lynching. I don't know why Willie Brown Jr. got lynched, but we definitely need to talk about that, especially in a lot of these podcasts, because the media, they don't really cover that. I didn't even know about it until I was watching the Vice show, and then I was watching the other news stations. Well, news stations don't cover it until it really gets big, but I see it through other people's blogs and stuff. Just like the man that caught COVID-19, an old man, he was in World War I. He beat it. He had cancer. He beat that, and then he had COVID-19. He beat that. Man got lungs of steel. Let's say that. And I heard about that through social media. And then 2 weeks later, then the news picked it up. So it's very good for everybody to just, you know, don't depend on one person to say something. If you see a story, you say something about it, share it, and make a podcast, whatever. We all here to help. We all here and need it in this world, like I said. Um, but yeah, all this shucking and jiving and ratchetness. I don't know who to vote for. I mean, like I said, I'm not super political, but I do get into politics at an intermediate level because, yes, they can create votes that will affect us from years to come in America. And just because you talk about racism does not mean you're anti American. Let me state that. I don't know why people do that. Just because I talk about bad feminists doesn't mean I'm talking about all feminists. I'm not saying I want to see a woman in the kitchen, cooking for her man. You just cook and she clean. And just like the man hold up his duties, y'all could switch. Y'all could switch. I'm all for equality, but in America, it sometimes it don't go like that. Especially with this Nate 60 days jail dude that's committed suicide. He actually committed suicide, but that's because his wife was having a baby and she tried to withhold the baby from him seeing his son. And that's things I talk about. Like some of these women, like Lauren Hill warned us years ago. Girls, you better watch out. Some dudes only about that thing. And she wasn't biased. She said, guys, you should watch out for girls too. That's only about that thing. You can't be just laying up with anybody, especially bring kids in this world because she was, and that's what I was talking about. Like these ones that she probably thinks she's a feminist, but she's holding out the kid on the man, and no, you can't see your son, and this man wants to be in this child's life. And unfortunately, he did that to himself. So all this kid is gonna know about his father is, taking his own life, which I don't condone at all. But I don't know why. I mean, but that played a part of that nasty female that would do that. And some females in America do that. Like that's something cool. You cannot withhold somebody's child doing that. And there's some men that do that too. There was a man that threw a 2-year-old, his stepdaughter, he threw the 2-year-old out the window. A 2-month-old, sorry, the 2-month-old out the window. And then burnt the dog just because he mad at his fiance. That for whatever reason, you have to be demonically possessed or some type of evil to even go through with that, throwing an innocent child out the window. And people like this needs to get the death penalty right away. And I want in America, whoever we vote for, whoever you vote for, you need to start pressing laws on them like this and keep to it. Give them the death penalty. If you want to be a feminist, you go to. First of all, true feminist stands with the man. They don't go against the man. It's the westernized feminizations that, they take on the role of the man who likes to beat on the women and, keep a woman in a place while they rule the world or whatever. And you got some females that do childish stuff like that. No, that is a child. That's not an adult. Because like in Africa, in other parts of the world, you know, a man does his duties, a woman does her duties, and then they switch off. They deal with truth and logic, eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. And I think that's why we have like female presidents over there. And that's why over here, a lot of people don't want a female president here because they fear that, oh, it's just going to be, anti-male type stuff. Like we all joking around and stuff, but you do got females who are very nasty, do bad things, and like for instance, a man, puts her in her place, that she being all childish and emotional. Then she try to find ways to get back at him, and then try to get some simp dude to go fight her battle. Just go fight that man just because I want to see something bad happen to you. Because I have to get my way, my revenge, and just all types of childish crap. And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, you can leave it in the comment section. We can have a discussion like adults. And if y'all just want to say something about anything I'm saying, I do all types of videos. It's not about political or Trump or politics. But I guarantee you this podcast is probably gonna get more views than ever. Cause I put all the positive stuff, and it gets like about maybe like 15, maybe 50 views. But then I talk about something like Trump and feminism and the black community. And, oh no. My show, my rules. This is the X Zone. First and foremost, like I said, let's have discussions like adults, or you can get blocked. You can get X'd out, blocked. You, this is the comfort zone. Feel free to talk. But yeah, that's just my take on the whole presidential politics. I just want to see, I'm not saying I'm using Trump's words, but like if we gonna make America great again, or we gonna have to talk about stuff like get like rid of like laziness and all of that. Like some of these people just want to live on the county and all of that. Everybody's situation is different, yes, but some people who just don't want to work, don't want to do nothing, and harass essential workers and all of that, and don't want to wear the mask, and then just harassing essential workers, and we can't have none of that, and definitely no lynchings and any of that. And like I said, females trying to keep the kids away from the man. I think that's very disgusting and evil type of thing, that just because you're mad at this man, you're going to try to find some way to get back at him and hurt him, and use a child to do that, to do so. I don't want to see people jumping on, feministic train wagon, but you doing stuff like that. And feminists, you need to have talk and weed out women who do stuff like that. Because being a true feminist is not anti-male. It's about getting equal rights. Yeah, I want to work a quote unquote man's job, and I want females who lie on men saying, "Oh, he raped me," and you find out he didn't do that. You should get some jail time. There's one chick that got 1 year in jail, which is a head start, because she lied on 2 black men saying they raped her because she wanted to get sympathy from some guy that she wanted to date, and she got 1 year in jail for lying about rape. But I feel like she should have got whatever they got, because they almost got, they was looking at a hard 25, maybe to life, but a hard 25. She should have got whatever they got. And you got a couple of judges and lawyers and all of that who enforces that, get equal jail time. You can't be crying, "Well, I'll never do it again," or "I'll suck your dick to get out out or something." No, equal jail time. If you could kill a child, lie on somebody, use a child as a shield or whatever, you need equal jail time, just like a man. Let's go full throttle with all that stuff. So that's what I want to see in politics, because because you see this every day. You hear stories like this, all of this corruption and evilness, and it's just like, dang, like sometimes you just have to sit back and think like somebody really did that. And these corrupt officers, not all officers corrupt, they do their job, but you got a lot of people that hide behind their shield. Maybe they're racist, maybe their wife give them a bad day, or maybe I just like shooting people. I want to get back at somebody for whatever reason. Maybe we fought years later, and so now I can become an officer and harass you. And what you gonna do about it? I got the law behind my hands. We don't need any of that. that definitely needs to, whoever, political, not just the presidents, but who's ever in office, whoever has to sign these votes and bills. I definitely want to see the death chair because I guarantee you, there'll be a lot less killings of kids and people if we go back to old, witch hunting days. I'm not saying you should get pitchforks and go out and kill people and say they're a witch, but it, the, if the jail system bring back the death penalty and stuff, and you find out that person's actually guilty of the crimes that they committed, I don't want to see nobody rotting death row like a Charles Manson or the Night Stalker. They die before they get the fryer. No, you need to get fried right away in a week or so if you actually did the crime. I don't want to see no innocent people in jail or on a death chair just because they was accused of something. Because too many innocent people go in jail, and not enough the bad ones. Yeah, there's some bad ones that go in jail. You do the crime, you pay the time, but we also know that sometimes that's not the case at all. Like Caleb Browder, who went to jail for a crime that he did not commit, but he actually, got out, and he spent 3 years in Rikers jail, and tried to kill himself the first time. His mother caught him. Then he did it the second time. He was successful at it. Sad case. And if y'all don't know, Rikers Island is, like I said, it's one of the worst prisons you can go to. I mean, jail is horrible in period, in general. Prison is horrible in general. But Rikers Island, I don't know what the hell they got going over there. Hearing a man got burnt alive in his sleep. I heard another man, a young man, kept fucking with an old man, and then the old man stabbed him in his sleep. There's a lot of booty bandits, the rapings, you know, uh, the correctional officers. It's always something. If you threaten to close down a jail, then there's something going on there. And that's just to give you, I don't know exactly what happened to Caleb Browder. No, I know he did get raped. He got beat, all of that. Very, very sad case. I don't even know why it took 3 years for him to get out. Because some of y'all, I think that, yeah, 3 years ain't shit, but going into prison, 5 seconds in, 45 minutes in, you already know some people flip shit. And you got to deal with all these, like I said, the booty bandits, and you got to have your back against the wall, and it's really not a place to be. People enjoy their freedom. If you hear these stories, if you go on like lockdown and 23 and Run, one, that's channel. Shout out to Jonathan, aka Def. You can see people's stories, and it'll change you up real quick. All these rappers rapping about gangbanging and stuff, and youth is very impressionable. Nah, if you think you're gonna go into jail and be a real nigga, I would think again. Like your favorite rapper, Tekashi 6ix9ine, if you listen to him, he started snitching because we know damn well he wouldn't survive in prison with that rainbow hair and that whole, drop your location. Well, you in prison. Where you gonna go? Can't drop shit. You gonna be dropping them draws. Just keeping it real. But I'm just rambling about the political system. Because I got asked to talk about Trump and politics. A shout out to Lisam Orr. Yeah. So, yeah. Anything y'all want me to talk about, just keep it coming. So, anyways, that's been my show. Any comments, questions, concerns, leave in the comment section below. If there's a comment section, because I don't know where you're listening to me from. Like, share, subscribe, hit that listener support, and there'll be very more realistic topics, deep topics that I can go into and we'll talk about. Till then, this is being boy, Chris with an X, in the X Zone. Stay tuned.